Hi there. Okay, I think I've got it now. Hang on. A little trouble getting on today. But I think I'm there. Kim, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. Okay, cool. Hi. Oh my goodness, it's been a while, hasn't it? I'm Casey Christensen. I'm coming to you live from West Kelowna, BC, where it is hot, hot, hot. Holy cow, it's hot. I'm just back from my holiday, and so I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. We were away in Nelson for a week where we had such a good time. It was just a great place to be. Nelson's really, really amazing. I would live there in a heartbeat. But anyways, so we went there. We had a good time. I zip-lined, which is like, holy cow, are you kidding me? But yeah, I did. It was my idea, too. That's what blows me away, is that it was my idea to go zip-lining. Anyways, it was lots and lots of fun. So today, I thought I would play with, since it's so hot outside, I thought I would play with something that represents water. So I have my Let's Set Sail stamp set here. And it is on page 80 of the annual catalog, and it is a bundle. And you save 10% when you buy a bundle. You probably know that, but if you didn't, you save 10% when you buy a bundle. So it's $45, which is pretty good for a stamp and punch. Yes, zip lining. I know, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. But it was so good. The first couple of runs were very small, so they didn't really make me nervous. They were short, and they were not very high off the ground, so I was good. But when we got to the third one, I'm not going to lie, I had a little trouble stepping off. It was very long and very high. By long, I mean like less than a minute, but still way, way up high, but it was so much fun. So I've kind of prepped some of my pieces here. So we've got a few pieces to make. So here's my card base. We'll start with that. I've got my card base, just your standard card base, half of a sheet of an 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and then scored at 4 1/4. So that's my base. Now next I want to make my layers. So I'm going to start with the first layer, which I'm doing in soft suede. And I'm using my deckled rectangles. I love these things so much. I use them a lot. So I'm using my deckled rectangles, and I'm just going to set that up. Remember, I told you before not to send your rectangular or square dies in the machine straight ahead. Put them on an angle. They're just kinder to the machine that way, and you don't get that big crack sound when you run it through the machine. So let me just run that through. So that's my first layer, and I haven't really thought about. Oh yeah, the treetops were amazing. The first couple I didn't look down. I guess I was kind of scared. But once I got comfortable, and then of course once I was through the whole thing, I wished I could do it again, because I would appreciate it, knowing that I was quite a bit more confident. So we've done that one. That's our first piece. And then just the next size down of deckled rectangles, we're going to do a white piece. And again, we'll tip that to put it through the machine. Give that a little go here. And that's our first 2 layers that we're going to do on this card. And actually, I think I'll put them. Now this one here, I'm actually going to take this is a Time Worn Type. I haven't really been doing a lot of collecting of embossing folders, but I should be, because whenever I go to use one, I think, gee, I just don't have enough of them. This is Time Worn Type. So this little piece here, I'm going to put through, and I'll just run that through so that we have just a little bit more exciting piece than just your standard white cardstock, okay? But nothing too intense. You don't want anything too intense, because the focus of this card is the water and the sailboat. So the base card is actually Misty Moonlight. It's Misty Moonlight. So there we are. See, that's just, I don't know, I think I'm going to use the debossed side actually. What should I? No, I shouldn't because there's writing on it. So I'm going to use the embossed side. But that's my start, anyways, of my card. I'll just put this back. Misty Moonlight is an in color, so it won't be around forever. Okay, so let's have a look at these. Just going to give this a little bit of glue because it's all with the embossing. When the cards are embossed, they kind of need the glue to put them down because if you use the tape, they're not getting a firm hold with the tape. There we go. Also with the glue, you get a little bit of leeway if you don't have it quite straight. You've got room to move it a little bit, right? And then I think that I'm going to pop that up. I know I got my, here they are. So that's just the basic start of our card. And then we'll get to the fun stuff. How was your visit, Kim, with your sister? I'm kind of excited. I've got my brother coming up this week, and we're going to go, on Saturday, we're going to go float the canal, and I've never done that before, but it does sound like a lot of fun. It's in Penticton, so we're going to go and do that. Oh, it's crazy. The other thing I'm finding hard is that, you know, I work now, I'm working at Mark's Work Warehouse, and although I only work part-time, and I only work 5-hour shifts, I'm being scheduled for 5 days a week, and I'm not really sure that that's what I want. I think that's a bit much because even though it's only 5 hours, you're working 5 days a week. It still feels like full time to me almost, right? Okay, so there's our base of our card. Now we're going to do the fun stuff. So what we want to do here is I've got my blues out because I'm trying to decide which blues I want to use. So I have all my blues here. I've got Pacific Point, Balmy Blue, Orchid Oasis, and Pool Party, because we're going to stamp out our water with the stamp that you can make for yourself. And so I'm just deciding which colors do I want to use. I think I'm only going to use 2 colors. But to start with, I need to create a little bit of background color. So I'm going to take the Balmy Blue and just grab some on my thing there. There we go. And I'm just going to give our cardstock a little color so it's not quite as stark white, okay? Not a lot of color, just a little. We really just need a sky situation going on here. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe just a little more. May as well use up the color that I've got on that block. Oh, and I've got a little stripe across my... That's okay, I'm going to flip it over and you won't notice it. Don't know why I've gotten that, but anyways. Must be something on my brush. And I'm going to push a little harder on there and give my blue sky a little more blue. All right, so let's Let's just give that a quick little clean off before I put my arm on it or something. So you know I'm going to. Okay. There we go. That's nice and clean. So now what we're going to do next is, oh, I think I'd like to stamp some birds next. I think I'd like to have some birds up there. So let's get my teeny tiny guy. And my favorite color for birds is Night of Navy. I just like the, it does feel like full-time, very much so. It's like you're going to work 5 days a week. Regardless of how many hours you're doing, you're going to work 5 days a week, and that's not what I signed on for. So I'm gonna try and narrow that down a little bit. There we go. Just a little group of birds in the corner there. Just because what's a blue sky without some birds in it? So that's my birds. Yeah, it's just, it feels like too much, and you know, I wanted to do it for some extra money and stuff, which is great. I am making extra money and, you know, and that sort of thing, but I don't want to be busy 5 days out of the week. It's not giving me a lot of time to do the things that I want to do. Okay, so I'm going to put that away right away so I don't get it mixed up in what I plan on doing. Okay, so I'm going to use these two colors for my water. So here's what we're going to do. This is actually kind of fun. So I've just got my basic long stamp here, okay? And all I've done is I've taken some elastic bands. These are just ordinary everyday elastic bands. And I have just put them across my stamping block here. Okay, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to start with my darker color. And I'm just going to stamp my elastic bands. You see that? Okay, just like that. See that? That's just the beginning of it, but you see I've got some nice little water markings there. And I think I'll do some more of that color. Okay? A little bit more on the bottom here, and be very careful. You see what I've got there? I've got ink along the edges of this block, and you want to make sure that that doesn't happen, because it could end up on your card. So I just want a little bit more down here at the bottom. There we go. Okay, so that's the one side. Now, I am going to clean this off a little bit. I tested this earlier today, and if you go, it's the coolest idea, right? If you go in to your sink or whatever and run water on this, all this ink will magically disappear. But I'm not going to take the time to do that right now, and I'm not even using that side. For my next color, I'm going to use this side, which is clean, but I sort of want to clean off a little bit of this side just because I'm going to get it everywhere. That's just how I am. I'm not cleaning it entirely. I can do that in the sink after. I'm just getting the bulk of the ink off of there, okay? So let me get the bulk of the ink off my fingers now. So the other color I'm going to use is the balmy blue, which is what I did my sky in, okay? So I'm going to use the clean side, so just get the other side of your homemade stamp here. And we're just going to add another color. That looks quite good. Another bit a little lower down. And you have to be a little careful with these, because as soon as you put the stamp down, it has a tendency to waver like this because these elastic bands aren't completely flat. So if I put this down on my paper, it's very movable. You see that? It's very movable. So you want to be aware of that when you're making your stamp, to just lay it down and hold it down straight. Try not to push on it too much because you'll get too much movement. Of course you could use it for the hippo dies, of course. Why not, right? So I think that's enough. I'm just going to put this, where should I put this? I'm just going to put it over here, so I don't want it to get on anything, and I'll have to go and wash it after. But I'm pleased with that. I think that's some pretty nice looking water. All right. So now, in keeping with the soft suede that I've used here, let me wipe my hands. I'm really concerned that I'm very inky right now, and I don't want to get ink where it doesn't belong. So I'm just going to take a moment and give my hands a little wash with my baby wipes here, because I do have a tendency to get ink everywhere. I like it. I think it looks pretty cool, and you can change up your blues. You know, if you want it to be a bluer kind of an ocean. Mine's sort of like a greeny blue ocean. But if you wanted it to be bluer, well then just use more blue tones. I'm going to flip this paper over because it's dirty and I want to keep things clean. Okay, so I've got that. So that's my next piece. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. This is 3.5 by 3.5, this Misty Moonlight cardstock. And I'm using my dies, what are they called? I lost the container for this one. Circle dies, scallop circle dies. I'm using those, and I'm using the two biggest ones. One is a scallop and one is a straight circle. So let's do the scallop first. All right, so there's my nice little scalloped circle there. And now I'm going to take the straight one that's just very slightly smaller. And I'm just going to decide where I want to cut this. Now I'm not going to get all my birds, and I'm okay with that. I think that works for me. See, I don't have all my birds. If you wanted more birds, you just have to be aware of where your circles are going to be cut, but I'm going to cut it right there. And we'll just have little birds peeking off the corners because we still got a sailboat to put on there, right? So we don't want it to be overly busy. And there we have it. So this little beauty is going to go on here. Okay? But we've got work to do yet. So let's set that aside. Now I'm going to have to do some stamping here. We're going to make a sailboat, and we're also going to have a sentiment. And because I like to make my cards sort of generic / birthday, I'm going to go with a birthday sentiment. So let's start with our, where did I put them? Oh, here they are. The color choices I did were Balmy Blue and Orchid Oasis. I did try earlier with one of the darker blues, but it was too dark. It just didn't look good at all. It was too dark. So I'm pleased with what I ended up with there. So we're going to start with, I won't have any more birds, but we're going to start with there it is. Let's start with our boat. And actually, I think what I want to do with this, I think I'm going to change my mind in mid-swing, which is, you know, that's what I do. So I'm going to try this anyways. I think I want to stamp my boat on the soft suede paper, but we'll see how it looks. So I have here soft suede. So it'll be tone on tone. So I've got soft suede ink and soft suede paper. And let's see what it looks like. I don't know. I might change my mind, but let's see what it looks like, okay? Oh, I've got a lot of ink on there where it doesn't belong. Let me just grab another towel. The good news is I do like my job. I've got good people to work with. It's a fun job. And I enjoy it. Yeah, I like that. I like that it's on the brown paper. So let's do that first. These punches are a little bit wasteful because you have to punch it in well into the cardstock to be able to fit it into the punch. Now let's see how this is going to work. I'm going to have to cut some of this off. And let's see. No, I'm going to have a post-it note for that one. Where are my post-it notes? Hang tough. I'm here. I'm still here. There we go. I haven't left myself anything to hang on to. I'm just going to do this. And we'll line that up. And there's my boat. Okay, now I have two little sails here. You may or may not want to, I'm going to save them because you never know. You never know. You might decide to do a boat with brown sails down the road. So I'll hang on to them. I'll put them in the Dexter bowl and see what happens. So there's my boat. Now for these, I don't think I want to add too much color in. I think I might do, no, I don't want to do blue sails. I think I might do, what have I got here? What did I get out? Yeah, here we are, Sahara sand. I think I'm going to stick to some fairly neutral, and I'll put them on here so I can stamp them. Where's my other stamp? Here it is. Okay. Yep, I think that looks good. Just pop the other one on the other side. Leave yourself some room. Remember, you can't put them too close together because you got to get them into that punch, right? There we go. Now, let's see how we did in terms of oh, I'm a little shaky today. Look at how close I was to cutting off the other one. See, you got to stamp them far enough away. When you're working with a stamp of this type, you know. Am I going to be able to do that? Let's just see. No, I'm going to have to do a post-it note. This punch makes you think upside down and backwards. Still can't get it in. There we go. Ah. Little tricky this one. There it is. There it is. Whew. All right. So we've got our boat. Let's get our piece here. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? Okay. So I think we're going to use glue for the boat. And we'll use some mini dimensionals, I think, for our sails. Because I do think they should be popped up a little bit. That's not working. Oh, you silly girl. Left my stamp pad open. Oh, not too bad. At least I only got it on dimensionals this time instead of getting it on myself. There we go. These dimensionals are acting a little strange. I wonder if I got an unhappy batch or something. They're just not coming off the way they should be. Making life a little difficult. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Hi, Shanda. Didn't see you pop in. We're playing with elastic bands today. And there's my little boat. Now, I think I will glue this down. I think that it's enough dimensionals. So I'm going to glue this down. That way I have that little bit of leeway to get it right as well. So let's just do that. I missed you last night, Shanda. This working for a living is really getting in the way of things. So I'm catching a lot of replays and that sort of thing. Missing the things that I like to watch. There we are. How cute is that? That is adorable. It's going to go on here. Now we also need to make a sentiment. And I'm thinking of making it on here. I thought, hope it's your best day ever. And I think what I'm going to do is use my Stamparatus and do the greeting in Versamark. Now I'm just going to put this in here. Let me just get a magnet. Hi, Dorothy. Oh my goodness, I've missed some chatter. Let me just look back for a second, shall we? Oh, if you want to hang tight, I'll show you a little bit at the end. I'll show you the elastic band stamping. It's pretty cool. I will show you at the end because I think we're in pretty good timing right now for what I want to do. So let's get this. This is the Hope It's Your Best Day Ever, which is a wonderful sentiment to put on, you know, really any kind of card. And I'm going to do it in Versamark because I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I ordered, I don't know whoever's been looking at my page, I did some great Christmas cards with some fun techniques at a class. There's a Stampin' Up demo within, I don't know, a mile of my house. So I went and did the class with her. I had the best time. And of course, I had to order all the stamp sets that we used. So I'm going to, hopefully they'll be here soon and I'll share with you some of the techniques that I learned. Dorothy, I haven't been doing any videos because I'm working too much, and then I was away in Nelson for a week. So I've the videos have kind of slowed down, but I'm working on getting my hours cut back to, it's supposed to be part-time, it's just not being part-time or feeling like part-time to me. I feel like I'm working too much, and so I'm not getting any playtime in, which is really important to me, because that's more important than working, if you ask me. But, yeah, so I'm working on that. Oh, embossing powder and fans. Not a good combo. Not good at all. Okay. Oh, that's going to look good. I think that's going to look really, really good. So let's put this back before my fan takes it anywhere. It's very hot in my room, so I had my fan on, but kind of forgot. There we go. There we go. Alright, so let's give this a little bit of a heat emboss. And we'll see how it turns out. Pardon the noise, but here it comes. I love heat embossing. It's like a little magic trick every time you do it, right? Okay, so let's see what I've got I know I bought something that might have, what about rectangle stitched? Let's see what we've got here, if there's something here that would work nicely. If not, I'll just flag it, but I just thought I might look. Well, that's pretty perfect. Okay, let's do that. Rectangle stitch dies I'm using now. And that's a pretty good size for my sentiment. I like my sentiments to be somewhat tight inside the die cut because I don't like them to be, I don't like too much room around them, but this looks quite good. Yeah, so I only work 5 hours at a time, but they've got, or 5-hour shifts, but they've got me working 5 days a week. So that to me feels like full time. Even though it's only 5 hours, it still feels like full time, and that's not what I signed up for. So I'm going to have them take it down to 4. And then when I originally applied for the job, I applied for 3 days a week. But we'll see how that works out. I'll do 4 for the winter, because there's going to be lots of, Christmas shopping and all that kind of good stuff. So I'll do 4 for the winter, but then I think come the summer I might cut it down to 3, because I'm just not getting my playtime in, and after all, I am retired. I'm working I'm working because I miss the public contact. I miss, you know, doing things. Oh, lucky you, Dorothy. I have a huge card order that I've had for March. I think I got the order, and I still have lots to do. Christmas cards, right? And I thought I started early because I'm thinking, you know, it's not going to sneak up on me. I'm going to be ready, and then it snuck up on me. So, oh yes, that's very nice. I am liking that. All right, so let's get back to our card here. So we did deckled rectangles here, and then this embossing folder, I used Time Worn Tight for the embossing folder here. So you've got Misty Moonlight, soft suede, and then white cardstock here. And then I painted my background and used my elastic bands, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But let's put this card together first, and then I'll go back and show you the elastic band trick, because I think it's pretty darn cool. It's really a cool concept. What am I looking for? I'm looking for dimensionals. Let's use some of these bits up, shall we? Always good to use up bits. Well, it's not pretty, but it works, right? I don't want to waste any of these dimensionals. So, I think that's enough. Now, I want to see where I want to put this first. So I don't think I want to center it because I'm going to need my, yeah, okay, so I'm going to put it towards the top so that I have room for my sentiment. There we go. And then my sentiment, I'll use a couple more of these. Now, well, it's feeling like right about there for me. Oh, I do like that. It's kind of a masculine card, don't you think? It would be a good masculine card because of the colors in it. Now, we need something. What do we need? We need something. Maybe something, I've got something brass, I think, or something like that. I got brass butterflies. I don't think that'll do the trick. Let's see. I'm pretty sure some of that would do in a pinch. But let's see. The black are too harsh. Here they are. What about some of these? Let's see. So this is the brushed metallic. I don't know. No, I think the color's off a little bit in that. I think I'm going to go with the white. None of these three colors are really working very well with what I can see there, so I'm going to stick to the white dots. These are just the classic matte dots. I'm going to stick with those. Let's get my little tool here. And I think we need one there. And another one. I'm just going to put another one right there. Well, that's why that's not working very well. It's coming off. All right. All right. All right, and then we're going to have to make an inside piece. Let's get our, I think we'll use the deckled. because I like them so much. We'll use maybe this one. I think this one will do it. Wait a second. Let's see what the other sizes are. I think there's one in between there. Oh, maybe not. Oh, there it is. That's the one I want. It was hiding. It was hiding. We'll do this one. And let's just cut this off. And we're doing this for inside the card just because we don't want our inside to be blue. Makes it difficult for people to write on. Let's pop that in. And then we'll show you what we did with the elastics, because we're doing pretty good for time, I think. Yeah. Here's my decal piece. I'm just going to use my gun here. And there we go. Perfect. Now there's nothing that made sense to me to stamp inside the, oh, yes there is. There's always something that makes sense, isn't there? What makes sense inside this card? Yes, birds. Birds make sense inside this card. Because I always like to put a little something there, but it doesn't always jump out and say what's appropriate. So I'm going to do some birds. Perfect. Just some lovely little birds inside the card. That works, right? Okay, let's get this ink out of the way. Now, I need my 2 ink colors again. So for my elastic band work, I used, you can use as many or whatever blues you want. I happen to use Balmy Blue and Orchid Oasis, okay? So let's just get myself a little piece of white here. Something that I can at least use if it turns out nicely. So I have just cut, I'm just going to whip this off quickly. I'll just do that, okay? So all I've done to prepare my homemade stamp here is I've taken, you can use any of them. I mean, if you had lots of elastics, you could even use the great big one like this, and you could make a whole large water escape, you know, like a whole large water thing. But because I knew I was working with a smaller size, I just used this, and all this is my number H, or letter H stamping block. And then I've just wound elastic bands around it. You see, you can see them there, just elastic bands, ordinary elastic bands. Didn't pay too much attention as to how I put them there, although I didn't have them cross over. I felt if they crossed over, that it would create a lump when you're stamping, and you don't want that. So they are laid out one underneath each other, but the spacing is quite different, okay? So they're not all spaced identical, otherwise it would look rather, I don't know, too focused or something. I don't know. So I'm using my 2 colors. So I'm going to do the darker color first. I love the birds too. I always love birds. I'll buy any stamp set that has birds. Just because even if I don't use the whole stamp set, what about the birds? So I've gotten myself well inked up here. I'm going to remove a little of it. And I know I'm repeating myself, but if you didn't see it, I want to tell you about how to stamp with this, because, okay, so I'm just going to lay that down. See, I've got it nicely inked up here. I'm just going to lay it down. and I'm not going to push very hard, and I'll tell you why. Because they're elastic bands, you see that those little lines I'm getting? Watch what happens. If I push too hard, there's a lot of movement in this, okay? There's a lot of movement. And if I push too hard, I'm going to end up with these blurry lines that we don't want, okay? We want nice, crisp, clean lines. So again, let's get that out of the way before I get ink on it. So I've done one layer. I'm going to do another layer, and you're literally just going to put it down and not push or anything. Just put it down. Okay, and I'll just give it another little bit. May as well make it even on this piece, right? There we go. So that's my first layer of ink. Now, you can, if you're careful with ink, which I'm not, if you're careful with ink, you can now just flip it over and use the other side because it's still clean. But I'm not that good. I'm going to end up with it everywhere. So I'm just going to use my chamois here and take off some of that ink, just so that it's not quite as much, okay? Oh, and look what I've done. I've moved my elastics. Hang on. See, they're just elastic bands, nothing to them, right? Let me just straighten that out a little bit. I've got my bands overlapping, and we really don't want that because it just creates a lump. I guess I was washing them off a little too aggressively, and I have moved them. Okay. There we go. All right, so now I can use my lighter color. Close that one up before I wear it. Now I'm going to use my lighter color. Oh, I've got one crossed over here. Let me fix that. Okay. Pardon my head. See? So I'm going to flip this over because I've got wider bits there and not wider bits here. Do you see what I'm saying? See right here? There's kind of wider bits here. So I just flipped over my piece here so that I can even that up a little bit. See that? That's pretty cool, huh? So that's your own rubber stamp. Now, when I take this to the sink, I know because I've already done this today, when I take this to the sink and I run water on it, it's going to come off completely and totally clean because, as you know, that ink comes off everything except you. Okay? So you can just run that in the sink, take the elastics off and save them, and you can just put them on as you need them and just reuse them over and over and over again. But I think that's a pretty neat way. You know what? You know what I want to do? Since this is just a play one anyways, I'm just playing right now. I think I'd like to add a little Tahitian tide. Let's do that. So I'm going to stamp that off. And give it a bit of a clean. And I'm going to try. This could be a total disaster or it could be really cool. But I guess we're going to find out. Tahitian tide. Let's just see what we get here. I thought this water could use a little brightening up. Oh, yes. Oh, now I wish I'd done it on the first card. I'll show it up closer to you in a minute. Oh yes, the Tahitian tide is lovely. It really, really is. I need to find something to put this down on. Okay, so have a look at this. Can you see that? Now, keep in mind that before I put my water down, okay, this, I just wanted to recap using the elastic bands. But on my card here, before I did my elastic band work, I used my brush and I did balmy blue all over the piece of white, okay? But the addition of that Tahitian tide, holy smokes, what a difference. I wished I'd done it. Anyways, next card, I'll add the Tahitian tide. I'm sometimes not as brave as I would like to be for adding colors, and I forget. I sometimes forget to remind myself, well, it's only paper and ink. If it doesn't work out, you can just toss it and try something else, right? It's all experimental. So that's my card for you today. I hope you enjoyed that technique. I thought it was lots of fun. I'm glad I did this on a nice piece of cardstock because I'll definitely use that. It's very pretty. And you know what? The fact that I didn't go over it with, well, let's do this. Let's do this. Why not? What else have we got to do, right? We still got a few minutes. I'm going to do it. Do what, you're asking? I'm going to balmy blue this because, yeah, because I can. So let's see. My hands have ink on them. I'm concerned I'm going to get ink where it doesn't belong, but I think I got the most of it off. So let's scoop up this color. And let's just do this. No. Okay, lesson learned. I don't recommend you do this because you know what's happened? It's kind of given my, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say no just yet. It's getting better. I felt like it kind of took away my crispness of my lines in my ocean, but I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong about that. Actually, it looks pretty good. Actually, it does. So whichever way you do it, whether you do your balmy blue on your cardstock and then do your lines, that still looks pretty cool, I'd say. Add a boat and some birds and you got an ocean. And there you go. That's fun. I like that. All right, people, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope to get back on more often. Having said that, my brother's coming up this weekend, so I'll be busy with him all weekend. They're coming up and we're going to float the canal. Haven't done that before. I'm getting very adventurous. Zip lining, floating the canal, I don't know. Who knows? What's next? Jumping out of a perfectly good airplane, perhaps. No, that won't happen. So I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed getting back online. And I'm going to try and carve out more time, see if I can work a little less and get more time to get back to the things that I love to do. And I guess I will see you next time. Happy stamping, everybody. Bye for now.